that, and we'll deliver that to a place in Athens called Victoria Park and the streets around there to meet with the homeless people of Athens to make sure they get a meal today.
A little bit about Victoria Park is that there in Athens, there are certain locations that became kind of like hotbed areas for refugees or immigrants to go and put up for the night, I would say. And Victoria Park was one of the earlier ones. I don't know if that situation has waned in recent years.
There is actually Victoria Park and a Victoria Square. We actually do the food drop to Victoria Square, which is actually the square that the metro is in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was at one point covered with tents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, homeless families.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so we try and do that Saturday and Sunday as well. And Mondays and Fridays, we keep 4 different workshops. So we have our women's club, which is primarily, it's a women empowerment workshop using the arts. We have our kids club.
What kind of things, like for the women's empowerments, what kind of things do they do using the arts to
Oh, that's what we're just literally starting up next week because of everything that's gone on this past week politically. We've had to postpone it, but we're thinking of using basically through music. I'm back in London. I'm part of a choir called Citizens of the World, and our whole thing is community outreach and making sure that our choir is 50% of refugees as well, and making sure they feel empowered within the choir. So we're Citizens of the World. So they very kindly recorded the backing tracks of the songs that we sing, which are all kind of like empowerment songs, and they're songs that have been written by different groups of refugees whilst in detention centres, and the songs that we sing. So, and they're different languages if we sing in Arabic. So we want to bring that here and just create kind of like a social atmosphere for them as well, somewhere where they can meet other women and connect and feel this is a safe zone. Because that's, for a lot of the people that we have come here, this is primarily what it is to them. It's a safe space. It's a safe place for them to be, for just to come and just talk to us, to come and be social, whether it be, even if people are picking up one of our food packs or picking up Pampers distribution from us each week, they'll come and stop and they'll say hi and have a chat with us, and they know the other people there, and they sit on the benches outside and they'll have a chat and they'll stay for a little bit. And it's a good thing, I feel, for everybody. Really, everybody needs something like that, a place where they can go to, where they feel that they've got friends and people who have stuff in common with them.
Without the costs of going to like the Cafaneo or disco or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So the children's classes?
We do we call it just like the kids club. So we try to do some kind of light, fun learning through it, because of course the kids are all different ages. A lot of them primarily speak Arabic, but different languages and a little bit of English. And we don't want it to feel too much like school anyway. So it's mainly, again, it's somewhere where they can burn off some energy, and the parents can have a little bit of a break for a couple of hours, because of course it's quite hard to get a lot of them into schools around here. So a lot of them do end up being stuck at home every day.
I think we were talking about that earlier a little bit. Is like what makes it hard? Why are so many of them not able to get into schools? What's that block there?
A lot of it is the space to have them in the schools. There's not always the great will to create the spaces, and of course the language can be a barrier as well. I mean, some of the kids are learning English and everything, but then they need to learn Greek on top of that, which is quite hard when, especially you're at home and your parents will say, for example, will speak Arabic and speak very little English and Greek themselves. You know, it's who do you turn to give you those lessons when you don't have the funding to provide a tutor and things like that. So it's a lot for people to navigate, really.
And if you guys remember from one of our interviews the other day, yesterday maybe, someone was telling us that many of the refugees coming in aren't really eager to learn Greek necessarily, because if you don't know where you're going to be next year or 2 years later, you will probably opt to learn the language with the greatest range. So a lot of them will go for English or German or something along, those lines, to where they're aspiring to end up. Okay, are there any other programs that you guys, or like what's a day-to-day like here?
Each day is really different. It's really different, but it's different like in a good way. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we primarily do the interviews. On Wednesdays, we do the distribution of Pampers, baby packs, women packs, and food packs. And we do the interviews on Tuesdays and Thursdays because we do interviews to basically connect with the people who we're going to be speaking to help them for quite a long time, and also just so we have an idea of how we can help them, because sometimes people come to us and often they can be so traumatized from what's happened to them that they don't even know where to start. They don't know what to ask for. And you know, there's not always great information out there